So welcome everybody back to the latest Collision Hub webinar. Today we've got Jeff Peevy, a dear friend, long-term friend of myself and Kristen and the entire collision repair industry. And Jeff is president of the Automotive Management Institute, AMI, and is also the chairman of CIC. So we talk a little bit today about what AMI has been up to, some of the exciting things they've been working on, a new announcement. He's got an announcement for us today. So world premiere here via Collision Hub today. Pretty excited about that. Actually, two world premiere announcements, one from AMI and one from CIC for the virtual meeting, which will be held in July. So again, it's an honor to be back working with Jeff. Jeff and I had the fortune of working with Jeff for a number of years when we were both at iCar together, and it's great to be able to work closely with him again under Collision Hub and with him at AMI. So Jeff, why don't you take it over, tell us a little bit about yourself and get into it.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Jason and Kristen, for giving me the chance to talk about some of the projects that I'm in the middle of. I'm honored. I don't always expect it to be of high interest to everyone, but hopefully there'll be some people that will listen. A few things I want to talk about that really hasn't been announced to the industry, and I thought, well, this would be a perfect time. Your timing was perfect. So I will announce a couple of things, one, like you say, from AMI and the other from CIC, and I'll share some things. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see here. And then maybe we can go. I want to make sure that everybody can see the screen. Jason, are you're still muted? Can you double check and let me know if you can see it?
You are good, Jeff.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. Well, first of all, here's my email and cell phone. At any point, feel free to give me a shout. If you got any follow-ups or anything you want to do, I will do my best to help you or to answer questions or anything that you may have an interest in that I could possibly be a resource. I would like to talk about the three projects, as I call them, projects that I currently have going on. One is my day job with the Automotive Management Institute, or AMI as we call it. The other is I'll give you an update of what's going on with the Collision Industry Conference, or CIC, because it's we've definitely, the CIC has been impacted by the fact that we can't have conferences, and for the last 25 or 30 years, CIC has always been a live meeting, and we're very protective of that open microphone at these live meetings. So we're kind of working through that. And then I'll talk just briefly about my wife Maria and I's project called Collision Boost Radio. So I won't take up a lot of time, but I certainly will share what I can. The Automotive Management Institute for many years was much stronger on the mechanical service repair side. So I came over 5 years ago. It's been almost exactly 5 years ago, and took the organization over as president and began to rebuild it. And we referred to it as the Next Generation Project. We set up a learning management system. We established more professional designations, which I will refer to here in just a little bit. Today, with the My AMI Learning Portal, or learning management system that we have, we offer over 300 online courses and assessment tests, which include soft skills management. That's a general management for collision repair. There is even a parts management, some parts management training available for collision. There's leadership, just overall operations, from improving CSI to a host of other things. We do have some human resources online training. There is some estimating. We're certainly not an organization that would boast that we have a lot of estimating training. We do have some, and we certainly are engaged with a lot of organizations that do estimating training. We also have some courses on financial, from understanding P&Ls, and so forth. That, there's a host of things to know there, so we offer online courses for that. We now have some training from the car manufacturers. I'll talk about that in just a little bit, and some things that I can mention and some things that I can't, but I'll do the drum roll. And then you'll see us getting into some technical training, which is new for AMI, and I'll talk a little bit about that. In fact, I'm going to announce a technical training class that is going to be available here very soon, within a few days, actually, and what that is. We provide accreditation for over 500 live instructor-led courses that are taught at, they were taught for years at NACE. They're taught now at SEMA. And across the country all the time. The paint manufacturer training, especially that's more management or estimating, is related, is also accredited. You build up credit hours, and from there you can obtain professional designations specific to collision repair. So just a real brief, we have a certificate for collision repair for the customer service rep. It's 30 credit hours. 18, I think, of those are um, core competencies that are required online, and then there are some electives. The AAOM, which is a accredited automotive office manager for collision repair, is 60 credit hours. It is considered an industry-based professional designation that is then halfway to the general manager role, which is the AAM, again specific to collision repair. And then there now is a master level that is 180 credit hours. So you start out with the customer service, it's 30 credit hours. The office manager is 60 credit hours. The general manager, the AAM, is 120 credit hours. Again, there's about 23 credit hours or so that are specifically required cores, and then a combination of electives. The master, or the AMAM, for collision repair is 180 credit hours. There now is an ACE, which is an accredited collision repair estimator, and then there is a master level of that. Those do require credit hours. They do carry over from some of the management training, but there's also specific things that are in the elective category that you must really take as well. The estimator professional designations have been out now for about 2.5 or so years, and they are by far the ones that are growing the fastest. And they require, for example, the master level requires some ICAR training, some technical electives. It requires some soft skills, customer service, listening skills, a lot of things like that. And then also requires some assessment tests from the estimating platforms, whether it be CCC1. We have all of that online as far as assessment tests. Mitchell, our Autotech, for example, are available. And we even require at the master level the ASE B6 certification be maintained. So we track all of that for those designations. Something kind of new, for at least the last year now, we have been hosting the FCA Certified Collision Repair Network training, and that will continue to grow. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. And some of the training is required for you to maintain that Certified Collision Network status. So most of the interest, obviously, that has become the strongest because it's the newest, is around the FCA collision certified training that we offer. So for example, online we have how to use tech authority, marketing your FCA certification. There's a course called creating a compelling message when marketing your FCA certification. So it takes that a little step further. There's a series of online courses on improving CSI. Mopar has shared with us the YTech 2.0 system training, one fundamentals, flashing, and ECU, and one that's out there that's fairly interesting is flight recordings. And now what I'm announcing is that FCA now will be offering within a few days the FCA driver safety systems. So that's going to be one of our technical training that's really new. It's fairly technical. It looks like it's going to be an awesome class, and it will be tied with the requirements of how to use tech authority and the YTech 2.0 fundamentals in flashing and ECU. So there'll be a bundle of 4 courses that will be required for technicians to maintain their FCA certified collision network. So the course is called FCA Driver Safety Systems, and it's pretty thorough. It goes through the entire system within the car that is a safety related systems. Pretty cool stuff. We have it in our system testing it, and we'll be about to launch it within days. So stay tuned. You'll see a press release in the very near future. So I'm going to shift gears. I guess we could if we wanted to. That's the ice maker. If you could hear that. If Jason, do you want to open it up just a second to see if anybody has any questions for AMI
Yeah, that'd be
before I go
great.
any
Because
further?
if anybody's got any questions, feel free to, you can unmute yourself, or we can use the chat feature as well if anybody's got any questions. But just a real quick testament to Jeff and all the things he's done with AMI and how much he's grown it so quickly here the past 5 years, you said, right? Is that what you said?
In five years in May, yeah.
5 years, which is awesome. I mean, you get the FCA stuff in there. There's a ton of other content in there. Collision Hub's been working with Jeff
Yep.
and his team as well. So we've got a number of the Collision Hub webinars that we've done. Not these webinars in particular, although we do have one that would qualify. But some of the course that we've put together in the past, you can actually go to AMI and for a very small fee, take a test. That will get you, 1 to 2 credit hours of ongoing AMI credit for actually watching a Collision Hub video and then taking a brief 5-question test on that to support your ongoing AMI requirements.
And one of the things I didn't mention that I have there in that orange color to remind myself is that there is more OEM training coming. We're working with several car manufacturers to set up the system for them and to offer online training, as well as provide accreditation and tracking of enrollments for live instructor-led courses that they will be offering. Our system can track enrollment, and we have a system that you can go in and enroll for specific live instructor-led courses. Of course, this COVID thing that we went through kind of slowed that down, but it's going to come right back very soon. We already are back working on that. So you'll be able to go in and take a couple of online classes for some of the other OEs, and you'll be required to take like 2 online courses. And then after you've completed those successfully, you will be enabled or qualify to then enroll in some of the live hands-on type training. So there'll be prerequisites that will be online. So that's coming.
Cool.
Hey, Jeff, are they, I guess even after, before COVID and then now after, are the OEs going to start to look at more like estimating training and some things? I mean, like right now we have several OEs that are making people fly in and travel and take classes, and
Yeah.
is that going to go online?
Yeah, it looks like more and more of it is going to. And I think probably before this is all over with, you guys are going to be busy doing some videos for it. But yeah, this whole thing has forced some things that it's a shame that it had to be forced. And when it comes to online. And so, yeah, we will be absolutely to try not to belabor that answer. But yes, some of the stuff that was online specific to estimating will be moving to online and being converted. And so we'll see. We're going to work at making it as interactive as possible.
And then once someone takes one of these classes, I mean, they go in there and they build the profile and they take the classes, they're all available for replay. So 3 or 4 months later, if I want to come in and replay the video, I can, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And the system will tell you have 12 months, but the truth of the matter is you have it as long as it exists. In fact, you'll get the updated version when we update them. You get the updated version and you still have access to it. So.
And that's just power. There's some things that we need. I mean, that the OEs probably, need to make hands-on. Some of the welding certifications, like Audi and Porsche and some of the stuff they do. But then some of this estimating stuff just can live wonderfully in the online environment. Plus, then you have the added option of being able 3 months later to go, wait, I remember they said something, and you can just go back and rewatch it instead of trying to replay 2 days of intensive in-person training. So it's amazing.
Well, and to tell you the truth, online training, something that we're working on is that, so even if you do go to a live instructor-led course, right, hands-on, whatever, there's going to be a need sometimes, like you just said, that you go, I can't quite remember that detail. So the idea would be to even have a backup online so that you could go back through that content and find what it was you forgot. I have to have that sort of thing. Heck, I forget stuff.
Well, I was watching, I think this hit home for me yesterday. I was watching a post on Facebook, and it was about, I had attended an iCar Ford class, and I know that they said this, and so I need to tell the insurance company they can't do it. And it was incorrect. I mean, so it was an incorrect memory.
Right, yeah.
That might have come from a discussion, you know, with someone else in the class or whatever. But in that case, their memory was wrong. But I mean, had they been able to have to go back and review the material, it would have saved them some heartache and embarrassment of what was posted online. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that this whole COVID thing, the positive that will come out of it is it's going to force us to accept online training and versions of it. It's going to put more pressure on all of us that are doing online training or any to get better at it, right? And so that's going to be one of the good things, I think, overall. It puts the pressure on us to just keep building and improving the offerings we have and our capabilities.
Jason, there's a question.
Yeah, we got a question from Jeff Brewer. Jeff, hey, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it. Good to seeing you here. So Jeff, your perspective, Mr. Peevy, on what if you think the future of skills training looks like?
Yeah, so my dad's not here, so Mr. Peevy's not. Hey Jeff, it's good to hear from you. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get away from skills-based training. There's always going to be a need for that. I think we're going to have to rethink it, and I'm going to tell you right now that I am convinced that some of the stuff that we're working on will creep over into the skills-based activities and interaction that a student will have within their relationship with an online training program. So we will be pulling that out and probably showing it sooner than later, meaning that it will be very interactive, and you will have to, it will allow you to interact with the class with the skill that is required so that you can practice it and just continue to get better and better at it. So we're working on that. I think that there's going to be for a long time a need for skills-based training that's hands-on skills-based, but you're going to see us getting better at that where it is online. And we have a whole generation that, you know, learns how to drive an 18-wheeler on a game. So stay tuned. We're coming with that fast.
Yeah, and I think you're 100% right, Jeff. And I think you're going to see. I think to Kristen's point, I think we're still going to have some OE certification type programs where we're going to need to go somewhere to take a test. But that doesn't mean that we can't train them remotely. Whether that's a combination of online and virtual coaching and sitting down with just like you and I are right now. I mean, we can have a conversation like this, and you can ask me to do something, and I can I can show you that and demonstrate that I've got some proficiency in there. May not give me your stamp of approval, and I still may need to do some other stuff after that. But I do think, to your point, we've gotten with this COVID, we're going to get more creative. We're going to, I'm not a big fan of the term, but thinking outside the box. I think we're going to be forced to come up with new ways of doing things, and I think we're gonna get creative on this. And I think it's gonna. I think there's a lot of benefits as well to maybe some alternative approaches that we've got. I think from a staff timing expense, it's expensive sending somebody to a destination for whether it's 2 days or 5 days. It's a lot of money in addition to just the travel itself. There's lost production on top of that. Bringing somebody into your shop is certainly a costly venture. Try to get them there from wherever they're coming, and but I think we're going to get creative on a lot of different things here. Pretty.
I think so. In fact, I would go so far as to say the box no longer exists except in the memory of some of us that's been around for a while.
There you go.
Well,
all right. I think that's
Jeff, thanks for the question. Yeah.
Again, if anybody else has questions while Jeff's talking to, please feel free to use the chat, and we'll take some breaks like we did here to answer them. But
sure,
hey, Jeff, have at her again.
Okay. Well, let's shift gears and talk about the Collision Industry Conference, or CIC. Let me just go through what the Collision Industry Conference is and what it is not, because there's a lot of misconceptions around it. The Collision Industry Conference is simply a conference or a meeting. It takes place 4 times a year, typically, in a location where you can attend. There are open microphones, and anyone that attends has the ability to go up to that microphone and voice their opinion, their complaints, their questions. It's a very unique format in that a few things happen. When you're elected chairman, you then are reviewing with the past chairs, what are the issues of the day? Are those issues currently being addressed? Are there new issues, and what needs to be discussed? And then the chairman then decides what those are, and then identifies committee chair people who will then lead those topics or those disciplines or those areas of interest. And sometimes it becomes very entertaining. So then each meeting, the committees typically will report on where they're at. They meet, some meet as often as weekly at times, sometimes every other week. Sometimes it's just once a month. It's according to the topic and what's going on at the time. We do away with the committee work from time to time. Sometimes a committee will come up against something that looks like a lot of work, and we will assign a task force to something specific. So then those committees will present where they're at, what their findings are. Oftentimes they will, in their research, will run across individuals that are well known or know the topic really well, and they'll set up panel discussions. And so then again, you can come up to a microphone that's in the aisles where you're seated, and you can state your name and ask your question, or make a statement. There are times where people will go on rants, and you know what? Sometimes that has actually provided some change. Collision Industry Conference does not dictate to the industry what has to be, but it can certainly bring forward topics and shed light on those topics. And over the years, there's been some things that it has shed light on that ultimately improved. So the April meeting was canceled. First time, at least in my knowledge, that CIC meeting did not happen. And so now we have July. It was going to be in Philadelphia. We know that it's not really going to be able to happen. There's often as many as 500 people that will attend. So we aren't having meetings like that, especially in Philadelphia. So we're going to do it virtually. And so July the 22nd and 23rd, we're going to have this thing going on from 11 a.m. Eastern time till 3 p.m. Each of those days. It will be the first time that it is held virtually, and it's also the first time it will be free. So here's your opportunity, if you've never attended CIC, to do so. And we're about to publish the agenda. I'm going to share the agenda. No one has seen the agenda except for the committee chairs. And I'll share with you just to give you some idea of what will be available. I think the beauty of virtual is really not any different than the live. If you go to a live meeting event, people are in the room for the topics that they're interested in, and they go out in the hallway and network and shoot the breeze with other industry people around the topics that they're not so interested in. And so we'll see that happen. So here's the way that's going to work. On July the 22nd, I think that's on a Tuesday, we will have a presentation about calibration process workflow. Now, this is a rather extensive body of work that was taken on by CIC, the Collision Industry Electronic Commerce Association group, and they've done some pretty extensive work around this workflow of the calibration process. They are handing it off to the Emerging Technologies Committee, which is a rather large committee under my chairmanship, because there is so much technology that is emerging. And in fact, Jason, you're part of that. You chair a portion of that, or co-chair a portion of that. So we're going to have that presentation, and it's going to be laid out as to what it is and how you can access it. It's being done in a way that you can hover your mouse over it and it will give you details. We're going to talk a little bit about some updating of the new technology definitions. There's some definitions within our own Wikipedia that is at ciclink.com that needs to be updated. And there are some definitions that will be discussed. And again, people can disagree. They can make suggestions at the microphones or whatever. We have an education and training committee and a talent pool committee, which they are merging. There's a body of work that they have been doing that they're going to talk about how they're merging and what's the next steps. Jason, you're going to be talking about a steering column inspection challenges, still of the emerging technologies stuff. You have something probably to say about that, huh?
Yeah, it's actually it's a portion of a presentation that we gave here in the webinar about a month ago now, I guess. So dealing with a lot of the steering column inspections that are required from some vehicle makers, talking about some of the steering column mandatory replacement requirements for some of the vehicle makers, and some of the unintended consequences around some of the things that we found, some errors that are published in manuals, as well as just again, replacing a steering column for a fairly minimal hit or a right rear hit on some vehicles. There's a lot of unintended consequences, and so we're going to kind of address that with the CIC group and talk about that and see if we can't get some more support in making some changes, some positive things. One correction, Jeff, I want to make. You had mentioned that it was, I believe, on Tuesday. July 22nd is a Wednesday.
Okay.
So it'll be a Wednesday and Thursday. So July 22nd, 23rd.
I probably
Wednesday,
should
Thursday.
know that, right?
That's all right. With everything that's going on right now, all of us working from home every day is just like, it's all just
it is.
one
I don't even
big day at this point.
What day of the week is it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Jason, this being a CIC talking about this steering column inspections topic, it's probably going to be a lot of discussion and open mic things. And I already feel like, and by the way, our plan is to have a live meeting during SEMA in November. And I have a feeling that's going to get carried over and the microphone's going to fill up with people still wanting to talk about that. So I think, I think that's a good example of something that will be brought forward and will begin a discussion and likely bring change. There's also going to be a parts definition update and a panel discussion for any of you that have been to some of the meetings know that the parts definition and the parts and material committees had some pretty entertaining and lively discussions and disagreements, and sometimes it's well, let's just leave it at entertaining. And that one alone is one you don't want to miss for sure.
I think you may want to entertaining also / raise your blood pressure. There's two different ways of looking at that.
Well, absolutely, and I have to. I'll tell you, when you're chairman and you're responsible for topics off limits not being brought up and trying to keep things moving forward, and there's a lot of passion around parts definition. I have to just say it's entertaining because it would my blood pressure would go through the roof if I didn't.
Yeah. Jeff, is that the first? So sidebar, is that the first time that a committee has splintered like that and presented that many different presentations under one committee umbrella?
In my knowledge, it is, and leave it to me.
Under your watch.
Well, I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm a glutton for punishment because that was, I'm sitting there. I went the year before I'm the chair. I know I'm going to be chair, and I hear people coming to the microphone, passionate and frustrated, and I'm like, oh, that'll make a good topic. We need to get this out in the open, and we do. It needs to be discussed, and it is a frustrating topic, and but again, it's one of those that alone is worth the price of admission, which at this point is free. So, I'll stress again, even though it's going to be a virtual meeting, we'll have multiple opportunities for open mic. And there'll be times where open mic, sometimes one of the things I was coached about when I became chair was there are times when that open microphone, you will only have it scheduled for say 20 or 30 minutes. And you just have to know when the magic is happening and you just let it run. And sometimes it's a little stressful because you do have a time that, you're trying to keep things moving forward. But there's a time when you need to just let the magic happen. The smallest shop in the country's owner can walk up to that microphone and voice a frustration or bring up a topic. And over the years, there has been some great ones brought up. So I think that's going to be a good one. So then on the 23rd, the Industry Relations Committee is going to be doing a presentation. Let me just kind of give a little background. So years ago, there was one called a committee called Industry Relations, and then it became the Insurance and Repair Relations Committee. And seemed like it was built around the days back in the days when the DRPs began to rear their heads, and it just seemed to have played out. And what I was hearing was there was so many different relationships within the different segments of the industry that we needed to broaden that up a little bit. So what I have asked is that we go through and we identify the segments, we identify the various stakeholders and how we all interact with one another. We then will really map that out. We will then identify where the rubs are, where there are conflicting agendas and challenges and issues. And I am probably going to set myself up again for some very interesting controversy and disagreement, but that's what we're here for. And so this is going to be a bit of a journey with this committee. We also are having a special presentation on the ADAS recommended best practices. It'll be somewhat linked to the day before with the CICA work and the workflow. The next presentation will be from the committee that has been highlighting data access, privacy, and security. For those that maybe haven't stopped to think about all of the data that resides in the vehicles that you're working on, the privacy around those, the security of those, as well as your own data. There's a lot there. There's a lot of laws that are being looked at, considered. There's a lot. That's a very deep subject with a lot of moving parts. That's moving very quickly, and one that shop owner and managers should stay very close to. So we have emerging technology committee, Jason, which you're a part of, that looks at the new technologies that are emerging. But we also now I have assigned a committee that looks at various technologies that will likely disrupt the world as we know it and how it will affect us as a collision repair industry. So there'll be a presentation there on the future disruption, some things that we believe are coming that could rock our world. We have a committee that also discusses legislative issues that are going on around the states. Some updates on that. Those tend to change from time to time, and so they'll give a quick update. And again, there'll be lots of opportunity for open microphones. So again, ciclink.com. When we put it out that we were going to do CIC virtually, within hours there was already 150 registration. You do need to go to the website and register, and I suspect we will have as many as 500 people that will be in attendance virtually.
Hey Jeff, question for you.
Yeah.
For for the Gold Pin members of CIC, what's the registration process for us?
It's really the same. I believe you'll just go in there just to let us know you're coming.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is going to be a really good taste to see the value of CIC without having to travel. And we hope that you will have an experience that will intrigue you, and maybe you'll get involved in one of the committees and start attending the meetings. No one meeting is a game changer to me. Jason, you probably, I've been guilty sometimes of going, I don't know why I come to these things. It's like a soap opera. But then when I look back over the last 10 years of my career, being involved with CIC has been a real benefit.
Jeff, one thing I think that's worth noting, because you talked about all the different committees and the presentations, and just getting involved in CIC, but who can be on a committee? What's the process for if I want to be involved? What do I need to do to become a part of the committee?
Well, you reach out to me. If you don't know who the committee chairs are, you can go online and dig through the committee breakdown and find who to contact. But probably the easiest way is to reach out to me and say, hey, I'm interested. We could talk about the different committees. Some committees I would recommend being on. Some I'm like, well, there's no need in getting on that one because it may not be going to be around very long, right? So it's a good idea to just reach out to me. And I'll go back through my contact information in just a minute. And I think it's great. Those meetings are done virtually. And so it's not like you have to travel to attend those meetings. You can meet a lot of people and interact with a lot of people that you may not normally would interact with. And you can learn as much as you can contribute most of the time.
And I think that's one thing that's great about CIC is just that if you want to get involved, you can get involved. There's no vetting process. There's no formal application process that's gonna say like, no, I don't want Jeff on this committee, right?
Right.
It's if there's something that you're passionate about, don't just sit on the sidelines. Get involved and be part of the group and affect some change. I think that's one thing that's unique about CIC that not a lot of other avenues out there offer.
Yeah, I have to say this jokingly, but it's kind of true, right? If I can become chair of CIC, they'll let anybody in. Right? but but I will tell you, as long as we leave our company agendas at the door, as long as we aren't willing, that we're willing to stay off of topics off limits, which we hammer. And if you want to see the bad side of me, get at the microphone and get on the topics off limits. And then when I ask you to stop, you don't. You'll see a different side of me. But because we just can't tolerate that. But other than that, it's a big deal, and I recommend it. I've had great experience being involved in the committees.
Yeah. And then as you kind of mentioned, you kind of alluded to another thing that I think is unique and is great about CIC is so you've got 4 hours here on day one and 4 hours a day two. There's when you're face to face, there's time afterwards and on breaks, and there's
Mhm.
so many conversations that take place, and there's so many other things that take place that start at CIC that kind of just grow and then make their way back into CIC. And again, it's just it's pretty cool how that happens as well.
Yeah, and some of the chairs of the past have said, let's take that conversation that's going on out in the hallway and bring it in the room. And we've really worked hard to do that because listen, you need to be there, you need to be in attendance, and you need to uh, meet everybody that you possibly can. It is one of the best opportunities to network that's out there.
Sure. And there's a lot of for lack of a better term, powerful industry people that are there as well. So it's not just Jason and Jeff sitting around talking about stuff that we can't again affect change on. It's people that are in positions to do something about the issues
Yes,
that are out there.
absolutely, and you might not would be able to meet them anywhere else, and so that's a huge value to CIC for
Mhm.
sure. Any questions about CIC or anything from anybody?
Nothing in the chat room, but again, if anybody's got anything they want to take themselves off of mute, they're welcome to do that as well.
Sure,
Or
just interrupt me. I'm fine with that.
yeah,
You're not going to. Um, so here comes Kristen. You have a question, comment?
I was just kind of a joke when you were thinking that anybody's welcome at CIC, and then we always joke, well, maybe not Larry. Maybe,
You know,
maybe
hey,
not.
you know what? Honestly, Larry provides a lot of value, and there's been times that I've wished he was in the room.
Yeah, when you talk about that, when you don't stop when I tell you to, you see another side of us. That's kind of what we're like. Can we hit the Larry button where he comes and drags people out?
Yeah.
We always joke about that. I'll get in trouble at an open mic, and I'll be on the phone, and Larry goes, "Did you go Larry on them? Did you have a Larry?"
Did you go, Larry?
I go,
Oh, I may have to use that. Listen, I love Larry to death. I'll tell you what. Sometimes he will say what needs to be said when nobody else will. So you gotta respect that. Um, and then if my wife and I started this project, and some people know that we know us well enough to know that we have a lot of kids. Between the two of us, there's six, ranging anywhere from age 36 to 7 years old. And so we have quite a few that are in their 20s and 30s. And as we were thinking about the chairmanship projects that we've both been on, Marie was on the Women's Industry Network board, and we're starting to roll off of some stuff. It's like, what are we going to do to give back to the industry and keep moving? And so our kids said, well, you should start doing a podcast. And we've had some beliefs and some passions, and really at times frustrations that I'm not sure we're doing all we can do to, one, recruit people into our industry, but I think that we really suck at painting a picture of our industry. We got lots of issues, lots of challenges. I'm learning that every industry does. But when I look back at my own career, I see an industry that's given me a lot of opportunities, that's been very forgiving, and that's been really good to me. And so um, it could at times be the industry of the underdog, and underdog does well, but it's also an industry of people who just so diverse. And so we said, well, I don't have a face for TV. I certainly don't have a voice for radio. Don't know anything about the equipment. Yeah, let's do a podcast. So, so we started it. We launched it at the FCA Nissan Certified Collision Networks conference back in February with 4 episodes, and we've been releasing an episode every week since then. And it really was designed for newcomers to the industry who wanted to get a bigger perspective of the industry, or a larger perspective and understanding of it. Our goal was to help them have be a little more selective of the shops that they may even be going into work in, or to at least understand the opportunities. That working in a shop is great. I did it for many years. I loved it. Realized I was going to as I got older, it's probably not something I would be able to do forever. So I shifted gears. And what we do is we encourage people that are in the industry that, hey, if you hate what you do, stay within the industry, but look for something that you would be passionate about and stay within the industry. And but don't jump and leave the industry. Stay in it. Use your experience and find something else to be passionate about it. And there's plenty in it. So we launched, and the thing took off growing. And at least for us, we were surprised. About 2,500 listeners every week, and we feel very blessed and humbled that it's been that well, done that well. And so there's a lot. I know, Jason, you were one of the early episodes. We were in Palm Springs, wasn't we, when we did that?
Yes, we were.
Yeah. Wow. That seems like a long time ago. Well, lots happened since then. But yeah,
a whole pandemic ago, it seems like.
yeah, that is absolutely right. So we're going to be launching in the very near future an episode for parents whose kids may be considering going into the industry, to help them understand the opportunities and what they should and shouldn't do when they come into our industry, and things to look out for. We're going to do a Spanish version of that episode as well, so that the Spanish-speaking parents who have English-speaking kids, and they can have an opportunity to better understand that industry, and that way we can help them become more supportive of their kids' careers. Again, it's not just a career, or it's not just a job, but it is a career, and that's what we try to encourage. So you can go to collisionboost.buzzsprout.com. You can find it. You can just Google Collision Boost, Collision Boost Radio, and you'll find it. It's everywhere. And Collision Boost actually isn't an industry term. It is an advanced gaming term. It's a technique advanced gamers use to ricochet and themselves up over objects. And so we thought we'd be clever and use Collision Boost. So just wanted to share that as well.
Cool. Yeah, definitely check that out. I've had the opportunity to listen to a number of it, and it's great to, listen to friends of mine that, I don't know their background, how they got in the industry, but listen to them and how they came upon it, and sharing stories. And it's great that you and Marie are doing that for the industry, and certainly we want to help the word get out as well. And we got a message coming here. Speaking of Collision Boost, and we'll put her on the spot. We'll sign her up right now. So we got Trent says we would enjoy an episode with Kristen on her career path and her side of the industry that she's seen. So I think that'd be a great.
It would be a great one.
Arrange for that.
So, yeah. Hey, you know what, Kristen, you're a good example of an industry that, it's not a bad industry to be in. I mean, you find your niche, right? That's the key. You find your passion, and you definitely have. So I'm game.
I was talking the other day. I think I still really have a passion in claims, so that claims bug never leaves you, and that's probably where all my anger comes from, is because claims is not where I want it to be. So, so it's frustrating, but yeah, I do love, to Jason's point, and the kind of thing I wanted to tag in on. I do love learning about people's backgrounds because there's a lot
Yeah.
of people in the industry I don't like. I mean, I just don't like them, but you respect them when you know their story.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't like it, but it just it does mean that I respect you. And I remember I was working at an insurance carrier, the last carrier I was at, and the particular vice president of claims I didn't agree with. Right, I just fundamentally disagreed with everything that he wanted to do, and I remember thinking how much I just don't like this guy. And then I met his family, met his wife, and I was like, okay, well, if she married him, he's got to have some redeeming quality. So,
Yeah.
it calms you down a little bit to the negotiation table, but it's always
Yeah.
great.
It is. And, it's just, for example, one of our early episodes, we had Kai Young, the shop owner out in California. And
There he is,
I,
right there, the big boy.
yeah, oh yeah, right there. Yeah. I didn't know his story.
Big boy collection ever. So
Yeah.
got to the shop. Yeah.
He has a great story. He has a just incredible story.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, I just have enjoyed every interview. And what we found is we have a pretty good group of people that's been in the industry a long time. And they go, "Oh, I want to know about so and so." And so it's growing. We continue to grow about 100 a week.
Yeah.
So we're at about 25, and next week we'll be at 2,600.
Cool. I talk, for those of you listening, if you haven't watched, I talk so often about how much influence George Avery had on my career at a very young age. His episode, anytime you can listen to George talk, do it. So hit play on episode 14 there and listen to George's story.
Yeah, George is a prime example of someone in the industry that you could totally disagree with, get angry at even, and he just keeps his cool, and you walk away and respect him, and you go, have a drink together.
Yeah. I may not have liked that parts trader thing, but I sure like that George Avery guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's why he did a really nice job, I thought, of the basics of the insurance segment on episode 14. And he had some other things that we're going to talk about that he saw in his career about exceptions. One of the things we've been doing is cataloging all of the quotes. So, Kristen, we do need to set up a podcast with you. But we've got all these quotes from everybody. We're going to start pushing those out in social media because they're just some real gems.
Nuggets. Yeah.
Nuggets. There you go.
I think when you're done, man, maybe make a book with those quotes.
I hadn't even thought about that, but that's actually pretty good. I don't know if I'll ever be done, but maybe I guess eventually I'll have to be, right? So force me out.
Yeah.
No, but I think that'd be a great idea because it's like one-liners. You could write a book on the one-liners from these episodes. All right.
We like it. So keep them coming.
Well, thank you. And Kristen, I'm going to be chasing you now to do this thing.
Well, apparently all of my meetings have canceled all the way through August. So I'm here every day.
Yeah.
So,
I know I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's a great point because I wasn't for a very long time. I was like, this is great being at home, and now I'm on like the third month of it, and I'm like, is there anywhere I can go?
Right. Yeah, I'm actually getting to know my neighbors.
Well, I do always know mine. We do regularly weekly driveway drinking and all get together. Yeah. So that was a neighborhood requirement for me.
Yeah. Well, we have a dead end street here that runs along parallel with the river. So it's a pretty cool environment for sure.
You should be central home base for driveway drinking.
There you go.
We should be, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, cool. Hey, real quick, can you share the CIClink.com, is that correct?
Yeah, CIClink.com.
And from there, you just scroll down, you'll see a register online button. You click on that, and it's going to default to the non-gold pin attendee, which is normally $65 to attend as a non-gold pin attendee. However, there is a link. If you visit the sponsor page, is where you will get the event code to get that discount so you can attend the meeting for free in July 22nd and 23rd. And I'm looking forward to another lively conversation remotely this time, Jeff. Good meeting.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this format works. We've tried to build the agenda around the fact of that it is virtual. and we've condensed some of it, but we've left plenty of open mic time. And those open mic will actually be where you write in your comments and stuff, and then we will be reading those to the presenters. And then if they're not specific to a presenter, but it's a comment or something, we'll have time that we're going to read those, and we may actually call on some of the chairs to get up and respond to this. So we'll see.
I know it's sad, in a way that in some respects we always kind of criticize that CIC is the same 300 of us that see each other all 4 times a year. So in some respects it's sad we're not going to get to see each other this time. Most people are going to be okay with not seeing me because usually I'm beelining at them to a meeting. I got a bone to pick, so they're excited about it. But I really want to see more of the small mom and pop shops get on this. We know you can't travel. We're not. No one is. I'm going to say criticizing you for not coming to CIC meetings. We know that leaving the shop is a financial burden plus almost a work impossible burden. My dad never left the shop in all the years that he had it. He sent us on vacation as a family, but he didn't go with us. So we know that leaving is impossible. So now here's your chance to be in the room without being in the room and take advantage of that open mic. So
yeah, absolutely.
Often I hear, and I'm hearing it right now. Well, that's not really a problem, Kristen. And I know it's a problem, and Jason knows it's a problem because we're talking to shops every day. But sometimes when you climb the ladder so high, you get insulated.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Kristen, you know this as well too. When we have a live event and those microphones are at the front of the aisles, and you have a topic comes up and people just start lining up behind that microphone, that's going to be a good time.
Well, as a presenter, it's a little intimidating because you're like, what did I say? What did I set the crowd off, right? For me, if I don't get a line, I'm pissed. But, because clearly I didn't make everybody angry enough. But yeah, and that's the thing is that you get insulated, and when you're traveling in the group with the same 300 all the time, and we become friends, and we don't criticize and dissent. So I made a post this morning about dissent and the culture of dissent, but because we know when we probably aren't as verbally aggressive or as aggressive as we need to be. So new voices in the room is a fantastic prospect for me.
Yeah, and in fact, we've been about 20% of the attendees are first time attendees. That number has grown, and up until this virus crap, we've actually we're in the right track. So we're hoping to not lose that momentum.
I'm excited. So I'm ready to see some names and some things come across that open mic and be read from people that we're all going to go, who's that? And that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, real quickly. So another thing, and this is not to hijack Jeff's webinar here, the AMI and CIC webinar, but that same week in July, usually the Collision Repair Education Foundation has their annual golf fundraiser. It's one of their big fundraising ventures that they do, usually packed to capacity, sold out early each and every year. Because CIC is not happening in Philadelphia, because it will be virtual, the Collision Repair Education Foundation golf outing will also be virtual. So visit Collision Repair Education Foundation's website for $25 or more. You can certainly add on to the donation as well. But for $25, you can play virtually on a Top Golf website that Brandon Eckenroe and his crew have put together in addition with Top Golf. And you can play as many rounds as you want throughout the day for that $25, and you're going to submit your scores to the Education Foundation, and there's going to be door prizes throughout the day. And if you want to, we're going to have a couple of opportunities for you to play golf with Kristen, Larry, and Jason at Collision Hub Country Club. There'll be more on that coming soon, so watch your social media channels for that. But the main point is I'd love you to come join us at the Collision Repair Education Foundation virtual golf outing this year. Raise some money for scholarships and tool grants, and I said $25 to have some fun, and we're gonna have some fun with it as well. We're gonna have some door prizes, some giveaways for Chubb Country Club, for a couple different contests which we'll be announcing. But just a little insight, you may see one for best temper tantrum thrown during golf, maybe the best looking Bloody Mary, best dressed, and whoever knows other kind of competitions we'll come up with. But again, not to hijack Jeff's meeting, but since it is tied to a CIC, I'd love to have you join us that day.
So I can play virtual golf even with a frozen shoulder. So
absolutely,
no excuses.
I think for so
Absolutely.
many of us, this is the golf fundraiser for the collision industry we've always dreamed of. So
It probably is.
yeah,
I,
so it's worth the $25 to watch Larry try to play a video game. I'm
It
yeah.
just
will be. Yeah.
But, well, listen, the Collision Hub Country Club, that's the kind of country I'm into.
That's,
yeah. So I finally had to make my
Country.
own club just so that I would quit getting kicked out of others. So
There you go. Yeah.
apparently, you're not supposed to wrap your driver around a tree. That's not. That's frowned upon. I've been told.
I guess.
So I think I failed to mention the date. That's going to be actually Saturday, July 25th. So a couple days after CIC. So it won't be, it's usually done like the Wednesday. It's usually done the day before CIC, but this will be on a Saturday. So again, get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, play some golf, take a little break, grab a Bloody Mary, play some golf. So love to have you there. And again, Jeff, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for all that you do for CIC, for the industry, and just what you've done all your career. It's great to have you on here today and sharing your expertise and insight. And definitely everyone check out amionline.org for those programs. Anything, Jeff, in closing you want to offer
You know
up?
what? Just an honor to be here, and thanks for everything you guys do, and thank you for having me. And let's do what we can to keep those complete and safe repairs coming.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Thank you, Jeff. We're back tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Miller Electric again, talking about aluminum welding tomorrow. So be sure to tune in for that one. Looking forward to seeing you again. So Jeff, have a great day. Good luck fishing tomorrow evening, and enjoy your summer.
All right. Y'all too. Thanks.
Right, bye-bye.
Bye.